Hello there, woven web enthusiasts. Today we have a heartbreaking story out of the courts in Florida. It's ANCLOTE Manor Foundation versus John Neal Wilkinson III. His wife is ill, and she has spent the last 2 years in a psychiatric hospital. Near the end of her stay, her attending psychiatrist tells her, the patient, that he's in love with her, and he intends to divorce his wife and marry her. Now, Mr. Wilkinson's wife is discharged days later, and her life unwinds, and nearly a year later, sadly, she takes her own life. The case begins when Wilkinson sued the hospital to recover the $28,000 he paid for his then-wife's care. The lower court agreed with Wilkinson and awarded him the money, and the hospital appealed, and there begins our story. And the court writes, a psychiatrist who was a full-time employee of the hospital was assigned to treat Wilkinson's wife. Wilkinson's wife was under the direct supervision and care of the psychiatrist during her 2-year stay at the hospital. Near the end of her stay, the psychiatrist told Wilkinson's wife, and this is while she was still a patient, the psychiatrist told her he was in love with her, that he was going to divorce his wife, and he wanted to marry her. Later, each and every one of the expert witnesses testified that the acting out of the psychiatrist's feelings towards Wilkinson's wife was conduct below acceptable psychiatric and medical standards. On March 1, 1966, approximately 10 days subsequent to the psychiatrist's acting out of his feelings towards Wilkinson's wife, she was discharged from the hospital. Prior to her discharge, in February of 1966, Wilkinson had filed for divorce. Subsequently, the following month, in April 1966, or a month after she was discharged, a final decree of divorce was entered divorcing Wilkinson and his wife. And the following year, his then ex-wife committed suicide. Between the date of her discharge and her death by suicide, her only brother was killed in Vietnam and her grandmother passed away. After a jury trial, the verdict was returned and the hospital was ordered to return Mr. Wilkinson's $28,000. The hospital had appealed the lower court's ruling, but this appeals court affirmed, and the original order stood. And as for me here at Woven Webs, there's 3 storylines here that are sad and interesting. Obviously, the actions of the psychiatrist are repulsive on every level. At the very least, he said inappropriate things to this woman who was hospitalized and in his care. And equally repulsive is the hospital refusing to own up and return the man's money. And I get it, there's a lot of legal issues at play here that we don't know at this point. And finally, on the surface, and we must say from the start, we do not know what happened in their relationship. But from here, at first blush, it looks bad, a man divorcing his wife while she's in a psychiatric hospital. But we've never walked in his shoes, we've never walked in her shoes, we don't know. All we do know is that there was a very sad ending to this story. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're enjoying the channel, please subscribe, and I appreciate you listening.